Hey guys, Ball4 back here again, and I'm really sorry. This reaction is extremely late. This is a really late reaction. Because I saw the episode Dark Water back last Sunday, and yeah, I didn't really have time to record it because I was down at my caravan and all that, and I was away. So yeah, I didn't really have any time to record that. So I'm really sorry. This is incredibly late, and I mean the finale, part two, the finale is gonna be on tonight. So I'm gonna have to record a reaction then as well. So, but I'll definitely record that tonight, so you don't have to worry. And if this doesn't get uploaded like soon enough, that is because if this is uploaded like after its record date. The reason is because my internet's been a bit slow recently, so sorry about that. But anyway, how was it? Well, it was. It's really hard to describe this episode because there were things I really liked, but there were things that I didn't. But I guess I could say it was decent. It was decent. There were things I liked and things I didn't like, but yeah. So the basic plot is that it starts out and Clara's on the phone with Danny, and she's just talking about what's been happening recently. A really funny thing is she has all these post-it notes, or sticky notes, whatever you want to call them, up on the wall, and she sees all the things written, like all the adventures she's had and all the things. And one of them just says, "I love you," and she's like, "Oh yeah," or at least I think that's what it said. I cannot remember, but it says something along those lines. But it was pretty funny. But anyway, so yeah, and then she's just talking, and then the phone goes silent, and something's not right here. And then she's like, hello, what's going on? You're there. And then someone picks it up, and she's like, the car came so fast, and it's that point you're just like, oh crap. And then turns out Danny's dead. Yeah, Danny Pink died. So he got hit by a car, and yeah, it was quite jarring when I first saw it. I was like, well, but I was kind of like, yeah, he's probably gonna go to the Promised Land, Nether Sphere, whatever it's called, and sure enough, he does. He ends up there, and he's all surprised. What is this place? And it's the Nether Sphere, and it's like a whole big city in there. I remember when I first saw it. I was like, it's just like Coruscant from Star Wars. There's even the Red Room. Looks like the Chancellor's room, but whatever. Who cares? So anyway, there's also a little boy there that Danny accidentally shot when he was a soldier. So it kind of builds upon his soldier days a bit, and kind of explains, into the Dalek why he's so traumatized by what happened during his wartime experiences. Well, I shouldn't say, well, yeah, wartime. War, military, war, what? War. I'm just not thinking straight. My brain is all over the place. Sorry about that. His wartime experiences. Anyway, so there's that, and he's got to cope with that. So Clara goes to the doctor to try and help, and then there's this scene where they're like on a lava place. It's like a volcano or something like that, and she's like, says, bring Danny back, or she's gonna throw all the keys away. And as she does, she throws them into the lava, and she's like, what have I done? And it's all bad, and she's betrayed him. But it actually turns out it was just not hallucination, like a dream sort of thing, like a thing to see how far she would go. And yeah, the performances by Jenna Coleman and Peter Capaldi in that scene were pretty good, so kudos to them. It was really well done. So anyway, after that, they go and decide to travel to go and find where Danny is. So they use the psychic interface, which was last seen in Lucid, which I think is really cool, and they do that, and they end up in the place which is called the Nethersphere, and they go along and they see like all these skeletons in there. It's all creepy and eerie, and then they meet a lady called Missy, and she's very mysterious, very strange. And there's this weird scene where she pretends she's like an android, which I thought was just really, really bizarre. Like, there's no point to it at all, and I thought, couldn't you just see through that? But anyway. And then there's this really great, well, it's pretty good foreshadowing where she gets her hand and gets his hand, gets the doctor's hand, puts it up to her chest, and he recognizes like a certain pulse, and he's like, I recognize that, but yeah, and there's this really funny scene where she does the greeting and she kisses him, and that was funny. So yeah, so they go around, and it actually turns out that the skeletons in there, it's a thing called dark water, because they're sitting in like chairs in water, and whatever's in the dark water, only organic matter can be seen. So all like synthetic material can't be seen and all that. So they're dead and they're just skeletons now. But one thing though, why can the chairs be seen? But whatever, I guess that's not really something to worry about. But anyway, so they do that, and it's really hard to explain. Well, there's more. They get some explanations. It turns out that the dead people in the Nethersphere actually they can feel what happens to their dead bodies. So there's these 3 horrible words that none of them want to hear, and it comes from like white noise. And if they decipher it, it turns out the words are "Don't cremate me." And yeah, so and it turns out, so yeah, they can actually feel getting burnt alive. So it's pretty horrifying when you think about it. Jeez, yeah, so there's that, and during that time, Danny is confronted, with the whole feeling of guilt over, not being able to see Clara, and the little boy that he shot, and all that, and it's just too much, and he has the option at the end to delete his emotions, and it's a bit of foreshadowing. I was thinking, and then there's walking through things going on, what's going on, and then they set off this big thing. And there's this scene where Missy, she like kills Dr. Chang really kind of mercilessly, which was pretty cool. And then very well, you'll know who it is soon. And then she starts the plan, and then the water starts to lower, and it turns out they're Cybermen, the crappy redesigned Iron Man Cybermen. Great, but whatever, they're Cybermen, so I guess that's cool, isn't it? So anyway, they're walking around London, and crap, it's just like the second Doctor story in the Invasion. Great story, by the way, check that out. So anyway, yeah, they're walking around, and he walks out and says, what's going on? And, and then Missy reveals, she says, don't you recognize me and all that? And he's like, no. It's like, well, Missy, mistress, I couldn't go by the name the Master, could I? Yes, it actually turns out that Missy's the Master. Woo. And anyway, so the Cybermen walk around, and at the end, Danny's about to delete his emotions. He sees the kid, and then it ends. So yeah, that's just the basic plot. Yeah. So things I liked: performances. Peter Capaldi, Janet Coleman, Samuel Anderson, Michelle Gomez. Those are just like the ones I can name off the top of my head. They were great, really good. For what they did, for what was written, they did it very well. Very good. So, good job. It's directed quite well. There's some nice atmospheric shots. I like the part with the Cybermen when the water lowers and when they start walking around London. That was really cool, and yeah, it's quite well shot, and I like that. the atmosphere is quite good. It has a nice atmosphere to it. It's well done, and yeah, um, the whole thing with the master being female, I think is a pretty good idea. It's a nice idea that we have a Time Lord for a former male Time Lord is now a Time Lady. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. But I do have an issue with how he or she, maybe the master, or the mistress, whatever, Missy, is played. But yeah, those are my main things I really liked about this. But yeah, now I'll have to get on to the negatives. And there are a fair few. First thing is Missy, or the master, or whatever. I I do like the idea of the master being female, but what I don't like is how he, she, whatever, is played. Basically, it's well, not played. I should say written, shouldn't I? Yeah, written. The master is written as a very in his new female form. She, I'll just call her she now. She's written as very. The master is written very just the generic Stephen Moffat evil lady person. Evil lady. Basically, it's the exact same as Carol Alexos or whatever her name was, and Irene Adler in Sherlock. Um, the lady from that those myth stories from series 6. I cannot remember her name. But yeah, they're basically, it's the same thing. There's no difference, just the same, I'm so evil and happy, same thing. It is like the same thing. If you didn't call her, if you didn't say that she was the master, she would just be any other generic evil, hammy, evil lady person. It's really just, yeah, it's very, I hate that, and yeah. Again, Michelle Gomez, she plays it very well, but it's just not written very well, which is very generic, but it's the same thing we've had so many times, so please, Moffat, give us something different. Another thing I didn't like was I felt that there were times where, like, especially towards the end, where it was kind of edited a little weirdly. Like, it ends with the Simon going like, and its eye goes up to the camera, and it's really cool, and then you suddenly just see Danny about to do these emotions, and the kid's like, in the reflection, it's really weird, just kind of tacked on at the end. I didn't really like that. It was kind of weird. And the whole "don't cremate me" thing, how they can feel them, getting cremated. I felt that was a little too far for Doctor Who, if you ask me. Just a little bit. I like the idea, but I felt that could have worked in, like, Torchwood or something. And I don't even like Torchwood, so, but it just felt a little too far, a little too horrific, if you ask me. Just, I don't know, just something about it I just didn't think was right. And I just didn't feel it was right for Doctor Who, if you know what I mean. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm all for things like people being mutated into monsters and all that kind of thing, but if a dead person can feel their body getting burnt alive, it's just a little too far for Doctor Who, but that's just me. But anyway, yeah, so there was that. Nothing really else I can say. It was a pretty good story. It was a decent story. I'm definitely looking forward to the second part, which is Death in Heaven, which is going to be on tonight. So that's really exciting. So yeah, those were my thoughts on Dark Water. And yeah, I'll see you later for Death in Heaven, silly computer, the final part of the finale of Series 8. I'll see you there.